Everyone. As you know, today we are going to have a workshop on machine learning, and most of you already know about the importance of machine learning nowadays. I will discuss first half of the presentation of the workshop about the importance, about the different definitions, about different applications that you can work on in machine learning. And in the last half, around 1 hour or more, I will go specifically for two applications. And I will show you how you can actually write down the code, how you can extract the features if you are going to use the feature extraction based technique, and how you can classify, and if you want to write down any papers or research publications, how you can actually generate the results for that one. And that's how I will go. So first part, as I said, introduction, and then I will go for applications of machine learning. Then I will discuss about some tools that you can use. Some are like you need to do a lot of programming, but in some there are some tools which are graphical user interface, and you can just use click it to do the classification. And in terms of applications, I will discuss or explore two applications. First one will be handwritten numeral recognition. Over here, as nowadays we have deep learning methods also where we don't need to extract the features and we can give the images as an input. I will discuss that method by using Python, and I will see if we got time for MATLAB also. While for feature extraction based techniques, I will use MATLAB and Vika to explore that one. In the same way, I will go for brain tumor classification, where we will try to classify the images into MRI images into tumorous, non-tumorous, and we will follow the same mechanism for that. So before going to the next step, I have some questions. How many devices, IoT devices, do you think we have right now? Any rough idea? Any one of you? How many? You know that total population around right now is around 7.5 billion worldwide. And in terms of IoT devices, okay, consider it like mobile phone also part of IoT device. Okay, you can say okay, 7.5 billion devices like this. What rough estimation for now? More than 10 billion. Okay. Actually, right now there are more than 26.66 billion devices we have right now. Okay, and it is expected in 2020 it will be 31 billion devices, and in 2025 it will reach to 75 billion devices. Now imagine the population is around 7.5 billion, right? And 75 billion devices. Every person will hold 10 devices? Is it possible? Right now I'm talking about the overall population versus the devices. We are even including the kids and everyone. So one person cannot hold like 10 devices along with himself. So how we are going to deal with that such large number of devices? So that is the important question. In the same way, if we will talk about the data, the digital data we have right now, it is around 33 zettabyte in 2019, which is going to increase 175 zettabyte 2025. And again, if we will divide with the population ratio, we have around 4.4 terabyte data right now for every person. That is very huge amount of data even right now. And in 2025, it will reach to 23.3 terabyte data. What is terabyte? How many gigabytes in 1 terabyte? 1024 or 1000 gigabytes. So now you can imagine how much huge amount of data we are going to have. So again, are we just going to store that data? What is the purpose? If we are just going to store, it will be useless. We cannot analyze by over phone by using like just like we can open and see, or we can open the videos and watch, and we can have like a large amount of data from the sensors, and we can just see or visualize. It is not possible. So to analyze such amount of data, we need to have some sort of algorithms or some sort of methods based on the artificial intelligence, which will give you the broader overview of the picture. For example, we are going to have sensors to monitor the temperature, overall temperature. Okay, it will every second or every minute they will capture some temperature data, and they will store in the data set. database, and then they will say, okay, they will analyze that data by using machine learning to generate the reports. Okay, next year temperature will be high, or this particular week temperature will be high. This particular week you will have rain, or this sort of you can analyze. One more point, that is right now in terms of workforce in computer science department or IT, computer science, machine learning, and all this stuff. Right now, worldwide, we have around 21 million experts in this field. And out of 21 million, we have only 1 million experts who knows little bit or experts in AI or machine learning things. You can see how much data and how much devices we are going to connect, and we have very short in terms of experts. So in future, when we are going to have more IoT devices in just next few years, we need to have more experts. Okay, so this is another important aspect, that this is the reason why you need to learn about machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, and cloud computing also, you can see. In terms of money wise, IoT market right now, they are saying like expectedly in 2021 it will reach to $520 billion, which is very huge amount. And even in US alone, for AI market, it will be around, right now it is in 2018 it was 9.5 billion, and in 2025 it will reach to 118 billion US dollars. Some more statistics, like right now, out of every 10 businesses who are dealing in customer service, they are using machine learning some ways. And still in US businesses alone, they are having $75 billion losses because of poor customer service. So they can work more about AI and they can improve this one. In the same way, in healthcare sector, it is expected in US 2021 around 6.6 billion like market will be based on AI healthcare, and there will be growth of 20% in online clinical demand, and other factors will also affect. Now, how we are going to relate or correlate IoT things, which is going to impact hugely with the machine learning and artificial intelligence. We are going to capture, as per this workflow diagram, we are going to capture like a huge amount of data by using sensors and things like that. That will be communicated with 5G technology, that is like already China they deployed, and in other countries they are working on it to deploy, which will be around 100 times more faster than the current 4G data. So there is no issue about the transferring large amount of data to the cloud servers or virtual online servers. Then we will store that raw data, the data lake, and then it will be stored in proper format in big data warehouses, and over there we will apply machine learning algorithms, and we will go for models to control the applications or devices by itself. That is the main goal, that we will just monitor them. Like for example, I will just set up my camera at home that will analyze the video, outside video. If some person is coming to the house, it will automatically recognize the face from the video or the person who is coming. If it is part of my family, there is no issue. If someone else is coming to the house or trying to enter the house, it will immediately generate a message or call to me that someone is trying to enter your house. So this is just one simple application for this one, where my involvement is zero or minimum, while the whole thing will be controlled by using the machine learning and artificial intelligence integrated with the IoT at the back. Okay. Now next one is, like now we will start about the like machine learning, how it works. When we used to be 1 year old or 2 years old, do we know anything? We don't, right? We even don't know, like we cannot even recognize our parents. But as we grow, we start to learn, right? Simple, like in first class, or the like when kids used to go to school, they start reading like the A for apple, B for ball, and these sort of things. So how the kid used to repeat the same data they used to, like in the class books, we used to show the object along with the label that is like written apple or these things, and student used to repeat it again and again until his brain get trained. And whenever you will next time you will show him apple, he will say, oh, it is apple. Or you will show like different objects, and he will be able to recognize. Even if you are changing the shape or the way you are showing the apple, different angles, he used to recognize. And as we grow from 5 years, 6 year old to like 20 years old, our memory used to increase. We used to learn the things more easily because our processing power, brain processing power used to increase, and our storing the data in brain is also increasing. The same concept used to be applied in machine learning, where we used to store, we used to give data for the training, and that data either can be labeled or unlabeled. I will discuss that part in the next slide, that label and unlabeled. And we used to train that data by the computers, and then whatever we will give as an input, we use to generate the learn or generate the report based on that to predict something new. Okay, typical machine learning. The definition is a field of computer science, branch of AI that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Normal in AI or normal programming, we used to write down, if we have to see like based on the course marks, we want to predict or not predict, we want to show or display what is the grade. We used to write down if else, if else. That is actually explicit programming. We will fix the scenario and we will let the computer decide or print out the decision. But in machine learning, we don't use to go this sort of explicit programming. We use to let the system learn based on the machine learning algorithms. So what is the workflow for it? We used to give labeled data for the training, and in typical machine learning or old techniques, we used to have handicrafted features. For example, if we need to recognize our faces, I'm looking to you, some of you are my own students, some are colleagues and this, how I'm recognizing you? Some of the features, for example, if I'm looking to some of you, I'm looking the face color, hair color, and the shape of the face, shape of the eyes, and our brain automatically process these information, these features, and it used to recognize, okay, this is the student who took one course with me, another, so on. So in typical machine learning, we used to give handicraft features to the computer, and then we apply machine learning algorithm. We have several, tens of algorithms like sport vector machine, random forest, multi-layer perceptron, and so on. And after the system will learn, we used to go with unlabeled data, any input, just as an image or any data, and the system will again extract the features for that image or whatever given as an input. And based on the learned model from the training data set, system will decide that this is the output need to be. But what are the issues in typical handicraft features? It is very time-consuming task and costly to develop because it is application dependent. For example, for face recognition, we need to have features for the face. If we need to recognize the shapes of different fruits, we need to go based on their different features, might be colors and the size and these sort of things. So it is very difficult, very it is costly to develop. The handcrafted features are usually highly dependent on one application and cannot be transferred easily to other applications. So that is one thing that in typical machine learning algorithms. Now here is an example for the face recognition. So as I told you, we used to extract features and our brain used to extract features, and based on that we used to recognize. Here is an example where we can see that the shape of the face is analyzed based on the specific points over the face, like the length or height of the eye, length or height of the lips, shape of the nose, eyebrows, and these sort of things. And then we used to recognize that this face is, the new input image is same as in the database that you learned. Is it same or not? Applications of machine learning. Now, next question is like where we can apply machine learning. Nowadays, almost every application, every real life field are our even related to basic needs, which are food, living, healthcare, education, transportation. In almost every sector, in next few years or right now, these things, machine learning or artificial intelligence is being applied, are going to apply. So, for example, in agriculture, food, which is like we used to get food from this part, like in irrigation system, how to do the water, when we need to give water to the plants or to the crops, it will be based on the machine learning. Like it will be automated, decisions will be made, and you will the farmers, they will save huge amount of money in terms of saving time, irrigation. For example, nowadays in typical villages, they used to give the water just after 2 weeks, but they don't care about the weather reports. Might be they given water and next day there is a rain, so they just wasted their resources. In the same way, they can have land quality assessments, crops and food quality assessment, and automation for cutting the crops, irrigation and this sort of thing. In the same way, most of you already know about the smart homes, but nowadays you are only might be familiar with the smart homes in terms of just security or monitoring. But as you are females, some of you are already doing the cooking and this cleaning the houses. Imagine after 5 years, you will be sitting here at home, in office and or at in the university, and just before going to home, 30 minutes or 1 hour before, you will use your phone. Okay, I want to eat like biryani, for example. You know biryani rice, and it will go to there. The cooking, the machine, it will automatically prepare the biryani before you reach home. So it is going to be happen. Seriously, it is going to happen. So far, if you will see, 20 years ago or before 20 years, we were having like cooking only. Just we used to turn on the cooking range and we used to cook. Nowadays, we have air fryer where you have controlled options, refrigerators where you have controlled options in terms of something is going to finish. It used to give the notification. So the work is going on in this field also, and in future more work will happen in their very recent years, and you will have these sort of things automated. In the same way for the cleaning. Now there are some robots which used to clean the house by its own, but still they are not optimized. And how optimization will be done? By using the machine learning or artificial intelligence. Enhance healthcare. Because my research topic was on brain tumor detection, analysis, and reconstruction. That is one topic. But predicting the diseases based on the patient history, that is another topic that is related to machine learning. Predicting the different diseases in terms of different images scanned of the different body parts. For example, if there is a brain tumor, how many years that person will survive? We can train the system by using machine learning, and then based on the type of the tumor, size of the tumor, and the shape of the tumor, and the volume, and these sort of features, we can know that this person will live another 1 year or 1 week or 2 years or whatever. So we can learn these sort of things. In the same way, we were working on another paper where we were focusing how we can. Most of the patients are like typical disease like diabetic and this sort of thing. People used to live at their homes and they used to take the medicine automatically. But what happens if the sugar level or diabetic level goes up without knowing? So actually there will be a sensor device that will be connected with the patient or the subject, and it will after 1 minute or 5 minutes or 1 hour, whatever the settings you will do, it will get the values and it will send a notification to the doctor as well as to the patient that your diabetic level is going to increase, your blood pressure is going to increase, or these sort of different sensed patient parameters. And based on that, it will automatically say to the patient, okay, you have to take the medicine immediately. If you will not, you will have serious issues. In the same way, heart attack and these sort of features, things can also be monitored by this. Transportation. Transportation is another field where even nowadays a lot of work is going on, especially driverless cars. Most of you know about, like, Google is working on it, Tesla is working on it, Apple is working on it to make the driverless cars. How it will be possible? Again, it need to have the current prototype of these cars. They are based on the different sensors. They are based on the cameras, and they used to detect the object. They used to apply the machine learning, and they are working on it. And I'm sure might be after 10 years there will be full-fledged driverless cars. You are already checking that there are trains which don't need to have the drivers and these sort of things in the good countries. So same, it is going to happen this one also. Manufacturing industry, robots in the industry, which will have machine learning algorithm at the back end, and they will do this one. Internet and web. Over here, we are going to have personalized marketing. For example, whatever I am going to search something, for example, I am going to buy one item, the Amazon or any e-commerce website, it will take immediately decision based on the machine learning algorithm and my choices. It will show only that specific item that will be more relevant to that one, the object that you are going to buy, and if by this way websites can improve the sales, and what will be the benefit to the client, and they will get more refined queries in a good way. In the same way, Google search engine, how it is working? Again, the same machine learning, artificial intelligence. In Google, we have speech recognition. We used to speak and they used to display the text. Again, machine learning, artificial intelligence. We used in Google Images, we used to upload images, and we used to get most relevant images. Again, image processing, machine learning. So this is again important field. In education field, for example, for the students, if we want to see based on the past history and based on, for example, the prep year students, if we want to say which student will be preferable or will perform good in CCS and which student will perform better to other departments like computer, engineering or other colleges, we can build a database, we can apply machine learning, artificial intelligence, and we can let the system predict about take the decision for this. Some more recent applications that is just in last year or this year, for example, virtual try-on. So right now we used to buy the items or do the shoppings, and on the shopping websites they used to have millions of items, and it is very difficult to take the photos with the person to upload and these things. So this is one recent application that they used, again, machine learning, deep learning concept to apply different shirts and the dresses to the person. They will just give the image of the person, they will give the image of the different shirts, and it will be applied. And it doesn't look like this is like not, it looks like that she or he, they wear these shirts actually, but it is not. It is actually AI-based algorithm which actually led to have this try these dresses to them. Another example, building damages detection. Over here, like again, recent study to detect the damages made by the earthquake by using the CNN. And so another one, this is very interesting because in Saudi Arabia recently they deployed the seat belt detection, right? So it is again based on the machine learning. So they take the photo of the person that real time they are taking the photos, and they are actually applying machine learning to detect that the seat belt is visible in the image or not. Or the person is driving, over here actually the driver identification is also part of this paper. And they are actually detecting applying machine learning. And now it is officially available in Saudi Arabia also. So this is another application recent in 2019 that is about for the gaming industry to make the characters of the games based on your actual images or your even I think in Snapchat this feature is also available. And at the back end they are again using machine learning. One more application, mask guided photo editing. So where you can have here it is mask to image, you can edit and apply that mask to another person, from one person to another. This one, if you see over here, this example, they are actually, in this photo, they remove the hairs. Actually, it is the same one input image and they remove the hair. No, it doesn't look like it is actually artificially removed, hairs are removed. In this one, they applied the hairs from golden or to black. So again, this recent application. Now I will go for the types of the machine learning. We have three types. Two are most common: supervised learning and unsupervised learning. In supervised learning, we used to have input data for the training, and that data need to be labeled or annotated. You must need to give the data. For example, if you are recognizing fruits from apple to banana or mango, you have to give sample images or training images with the labeling of that. This few thousand or few hundred, that this is apple, this is banana, and this thing. So again, in supervised learning, we need to have labeled data. In unsupervised learning, we don't need to have labeled data, but applications for supervised to unsupervised, they are different. Like for example, supervised learning can be used for fraud detection, image classification, customer retention, diagnostics, and same for others, forecasting. And unsupervised learning, it can be used for structure discovery, big data visualization, and so on. In the same way, the third type is reinforcement learning. In this type of machine learning, we use to let the system learn based on the training data, again labeled data, but we use to say if they give correct input for the validation case. I will cover the validation in next slide. If they will give correct output, you will give some bonus or give some credit. And if it will give the incorrect output, you will give some minus points. So you are enforcing to learn the system as per your requirements. Some algorithm, we have tons of algorithms, like as I said, hundreds of algorithms. Few are listed here for the machine learning. Like most common for classification, they are sport vector machine, typical one, random forest, multi-layer perceptron, naive Bayes algorithm, and so on. For neural network based, we have deep learning, and in deep learning we have actually like CNN, RCNN, fast RCNN, DCNN, DCN, FCN, different algorithms are available. The good thing is you don't need to get much worry about how to implement these algorithms. The code is already available. In MATLAB it is available. In Vika it is available. In Python it is available. Only thing is you need to learn how to use those algorithms in your application to generate the results. So don't worry if you are not expert in programming. You can actually, without learning much details of algorithm, like how sport vector machine work, you don't need to learn actually in basic level or starting level, or you even don't need to learn how CNN used to be applied. The algorithm is there online, just download, use it. But over there, when you will go in depth, at that time you need to learn the details, as well as you need to learn how you can define and improve the architecture of the algorithm, how you can give different parameters, weight, values in order to get more accuracy. As I said, we used to have training data, input data for the supervised reinforcement learning, and we used in typical experiments, we used to have, first thing, you need to capture the data. You must need to have a data for the training, and it need to be from few hundred images to few hundred rows of data. It does not need to be only for images, it can be applied anywhere, and for even security threat analysis and these sort of things. So you need to have labeled data, and when you have to do the experiments, you need to divide the data into two parts for the research perspective: training part and testing part. Normally, typical, they used to have 80% for the training, 20% for the testing. Some in some algorithm they use different also, like 60%, 50% also. And in the training data, you further use to divide it into trained data and validated data. Trained data will be actual doing the training, and